Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie, and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. The theme of this episode is the TrueOffMyChest Reddit subreddit. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe, and also give me hype points if you can. It helps push my channel out, and that's the new thing around this town, so we're going to try to use it to our advantage. All right. The title of the first story is, My husband told me he hated me while we were being intimate, and now he's acting like it's not a big deal. This is my first Reddit post. It feels wild sharing this online, but I don't feel comfortable talking to any of my friends or family about it. I'm at a loss right now and truly do not know how to feel. My husband, 28 male, and I, 28 female, have been married for almost 2 years. Lately, it feels like we've been fighting about everything, both big and small. A few days ago, during an argument, I told him for the first time that it felt like he hated me. He immediately apologized, comforted me, and said that wasn't true. He assured me that he loved me and never wanted me to feel that way. Later that same night, we went over to our neighbor's house to watch the UFC fights. We both had a few drinks while we were there. Nothing crazy, though. When we had gotten home, we started being intimate. We've always had a playful and good dynamic in that area, and we're comfortable with each other. We both enjoyed some dirty talk with each other and had been doing it for years. But this time, something felt different. In the middle of us having sex, he leaned in close and whispered in my ear, "I hate you." I froze, thinking surely I must have misheard him. But then he doubled down and said it again. I immediately told him to stop. I don't even think that he realized I was serious until I yelled at him to get off of me. I was completely shocked and couldn't even find the words to say to him in that moment. So I just ended up sleeping in the guest room that night. The next morning, we had plans to go to Costco. The car ride was silent and tense until I finally brought it up. I told him how weird and hurtful that was that he said that to me. He brushed it off, saying that he was just drunk, that he didn't mean it, and that it was just part of dirty talk. He convinced me that I was overreacting. But this wasn't the same as what we've done before. Not even close. Especially because earlier that very day, I told him it felt like he hated me. And then he said those exact words during one of our most vulnerable moments. By the time we pulled into the Costco parking lot, I was crying. I told him I wasn't going inside and just sat in the car, trying to process what had happened. I don't know if I'm overreacting, but I can't shake how wrong this feels. I keep replaying it in my head and I just feel embarrassed and ashamed. The whole situation is so bizarre, it doesn't even feel real. The fact that he's using the excuse that it was just dirty talk is evil. Like, not the gaslighting to the moon and back. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that was just dirty talk. Like, what? Haven't you heard me say that before? I hate you. It's so sexy, isn't it? Girl. The top comment says, yeah, that's not dirty talk. You don't just tell someone you hate them for shits and giggles. I wouldn't let that go. In fact, it would make me rethink the whole relationship. Someone said, yeah, calling that dirty talk is such a cop-out. He said something cruel, saw how it hurt her, and instead of apologizing, he downplayed it. It's not even about the words, it's about the intent. He knew that would cut deep and said it anyways. That's emotional violence. And then someone said, what's so hard about saying sorry? Yeah, apologizing isn't helpful if it isn't true. He should stop being a coward and tell her why he hates her, or at least why he was so resentful enough to claim that he did. I know, I'm just confused. Like, what? Usually when you're like in that situation and you're like having sex with a partner, you're feeling like love. You're feeling like, oh, I want to tell this person that I love them and that like they're so sexy or whatever the hell you tell them. Not that you hate them. What would make you think that? What would make you think that it's okay to say that? That's what I'm wondering. But we're going to move on to the next story. And the title is, I had surgery last year, got sepsis, and was in a coma for 2 weeks in another state. My family didn't come. They didn't tell my friends. I woke up alone and then no one came. I, mid-40s female, had my gallbladder removed last summer. A week later, I knew something wasn't right. I was feeling like I was before the surgery. I went to the hospital and they told me that I was having phantom pain. I told them it was pressure. A week later, same thing. I went back and was told that I'm crazy. The third time I went back a few days later, I told them my insides were melting and I fell into a coma in the ER while waiting to be seen. I kept telling them in the waiting room that I needed to lay down right now. They thought that I was crazy. I was out for 2 weeks. My liver and kidneys failed and I had pancreatitis. My family was alerted by the person I was staying with. My family knew the day it happened as that person took me to the ER. My family told no one. My family never came to the hospital. My mom claims fear of flying and my dad just didn't do it. My brother and sister didn't come. They offered to fly my parents out. Money wasn't an issue. No one came after I woke up. I was in the hospital for over 2 months. On top of the sepsis damage and recovery, I had to learn how to use my body again after atrophy. I had to accept being on dialysis to jumpstart my kidneys for months. After I got out of the hospital and was at the house I was temporarily staying at, one of my best friends from yet another state did come to spend a few days with me and helped immensely. After I was finally done with dialysis and wanted to come home, I had to beg my parents to let me stay with them. I didn't have many other options, especially trying to recover from this. They let me stay, and I'm still here because after all that, I blew through my savings. I can't afford to be on my own now. I resent them every day. I don't know what I did to them. I don't understand this. I have awful PTSD from abandonment and having to go through everything completely alone. No one. I think about it every day. I can't get over it, and a lot of days I wish I would have just died in that coma. I could go on and on with the details, but this is the heart of it.
If you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/storytimesociety and become a member on there for extra content. Love you.
Your family is so scary. They didn't come to visit you and they said, yeah, I just didn't come. You were on the brink of death and they didn't give a shit at all. What the hell? The top comment says, there's a lot of adult orphans out there. It needs to be a community league founded to help each other. OP said, I agree. I'd settle for a local sepsis survivor group, but they don't exist. The survivor guilt is deep. I think, why did I get spared and not the 11-year-old every day? I can't even talk to my parents. A normal person should be able to do that. Anytime I bring up anything related to what happened, they get all huffy, shut down, or change the subject. I need a foster family. Haha. And then that person responded and said, yeah, it's more prevalent than people think, not limited to a demographic. Glad you survived it, though. My family member did not. No. I just can't believe that her parents, no one was there for her. Like, that's a huge thing. To be in a coma is huge. Queen Lumina said, you did not deserve to be treated so callously by your family. They showed you who they truly are. I hope you find a better family who make the effing effort to love and support you the way that you deserve. That's so sad too, because she's kind of stuck with her family. Like, she can't even really do anything about it because she said she blew through her savings. And that's also another sad thing. It's like, you have to blow through your savings and go into debt to even stay alive. Like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask to be here. Why do I have to pay $700,000 to not die? Like, okay, then just bye. I guess I'm dying because I'm not going to be going in debt and then being depressed because I'm in debt and then being stressed because I'm in debt. And then I'm like, why am I even alive? Not saying, I don't want that to come off as me saying that people should not want to be alive if they're in debt from medical bills. But like, I feel like that's such a crisis in the world and in America especially because we have the worst fucking healthcare system ever. I mean, the government literally shut down because we wanted healthcare. But Mr. President did not. Mr. President, with his little turkey gobbler, is so ugly. He must be rotting from the inside. And honestly, I hope he is. Sorry, that's so off topic, but seriously, I can't believe that is it going to last a month? Or what? This time? I don't know. Because last time I know that it lasted like when he was president again and shut down the government. It lasted like 35 days. So is that what's going to happen again? It's going to last another 35 days. And what's happening? Like, people aren't getting paid. These government people aren't getting paid. I can't. All right. The title of the next story is, I wish my boyfriend's girl best friend would just disappear. I, 20 female, met Theo, 19 male, about a year ago, and we started dating 6 months ago. And honestly, he's a lovely guy. He's thoughtful, kind, and pretty attractive, and most nights I feel like I'm punching well above my weight. My only problem is his girl best friend, Lily. They've known each other since they were 15, and they've been best friends since, from what I've heard. By best friends, I mean they talk almost every day, and she's the person that he looks towards for advice. I'm so jealous of her, I cannot even start. She studies medicine at Oxford, a university that I could never get into. She gets along amazingly with his parents, and I hate to say it, but she's quite pretty. I constantly find myself comparing myself to her, and I feel inadequate. The worst thing is, I have no real reason to feel this way. She's probably one of the politest people out there, and she's never once made me feel left out or unwelcome. She's been nothing but lovely to me, and it drives me nuts. I almost wish that she was a bitch. Before we started dating, Theo told me that when they were 18, the two took a trip to Croatia where they hooked up, but they didn't sleep together. He told me that nothing came of it, and they both think that it was kind of a drunken mistake and never spoke of it again. I can't stop thinking about why he would be with me when he can get a girl like her. I just can't stop comparing myself. I want to tell him to cut her off so badly, but I don't want to be the reason he loses a 4-year-long friendship. I'm slowly losing my mind. I feel like there's aside from the hooking up part, you would probably still feel this way because you're just like jealous of her and like a little insecure, which is something that you could definitely work on and that would help a lot. But I'm also just a little bit confused. Like, I understand that they're friends, but they also hooked up, which changes it a lot. To me, that changes it a lot. Like, if my boyfriend had a best friend of 4 years that was a girl, I'd be like, cool, hang out with her, whatever. We can hang out. Yeah, sure. Love that. But if then he had told me that we went on a trip and hooked up, I'd be like, not cool. No, that's your ex hookup. You've hooked up with her before. I think that changes things so much, in my opinion. I don't know. Am I wrong? Let me know. But I would not be comfortable with my boyfriend being best friends with someone that he hooked up with, even if they say that it was a drunken mistake and blah, blah, blah. Who knows if that's actually the case. The top comment says, the issue isn't the best friend. I know this because my partner had a girl best friend when we started dating 13 years ago. Always felt weird around her, jealousy, wanted her to disappear. Guess what? She did. She moved to another state. We didn't see her for 5 years. I thought I was living the dream until he got a new work colleague where I felt the exact same way. Guess what? That one moved away too. And now she just gets replaced. Or let's just say I project my own insecurities onto every woman I sense that he has a true connection with. Try to find what she's triggering in you and work on that. I guarantee you her disappearance will not solve your problems. T. I want to see someone talking about that fact that they hooked up though, because it's really stressing me out. Like, I just think it changes the dynamic so much. This person said, if they never given you a reason to worry, then of course don't ask that, but maybe have a talk with your boyfriend about how you feel just to get some closure or so he knows. But from this, it does sound like it's something you'll have to work through emotionally, especially since you seem to think that you're not good enough for your boyfriend. That's such a bad thing, thinking for yourself. Focusing on your self-esteem and loving yourself more might help you in the long run. And then this person said, it's not that he is with you when he could have her. It's that they crossed the boundary, didn't like it, and stepped back behind the line. He doesn't want her. Even if the hookup was him shooting his shot, she shot it down. She likes you. She likes her best friend and his family. He likes you. He's choosing to be with you. Unless you don't trust his feelings for you and think that he'd rather be with her if she wanted him, there's no reason to be jealous. But don't start with someone if you can't trust them because of your own insecurities. Am I insecure? Am I insecure for not wanting my boyfriend to be friends with someone that he hooked up with? I've never had to experience that, so maybe I would feel differently, but off the rip, I can genuinely say that I would feel uncomfortable. I think I would, and I think I wouldn't want him to be friends with her. And I don't understand why no one is talking about this, to be honest. But she doesn't think that it's a problem, so I'm not going to make her think that it's a problem. And maybe that does have something to do with it, that they hooked up or something. I don't know. I feel like that would be something to think about. Okay, we're going to move on to the advice/confession segment of this episode. There's a link in the description of a Google form that you can fill out and leave a confession or ask for advice. This is a confession, so we're going to start. It says, "Hey Jamie, I love your videos and watch them every day. Trigger warning, CSA, abuse, drug addiction. This is a confession, so no advice needed, but I will take some. I, 21 female, had a very abusive drug addict father when I was born. He hit my mother, broke her jaw, tried to kill her with a glass, etc., and went to jail multiple times. When I was 2, she left and started a new life with us, so I don't remember him. The person I do remember was the man my mom met when I was 3. Let's call him Mike. Mike and my mom met and hit it off. He was okay that she had kids and they fell in love. They got married and had my little sister. I even called Mike dad and would say now that he was my dad over my actual sperm donor. That's why it's so hard for me, because he started grooming me and essayed me in my sleep when I was 14. I would ask him to wake me up for school every morning. This started with him climbing into bed with me and spooning me in his underwear. I never once thought that this was weird because my family is very touchy-feely. My love language is physical affection. And then he started giving me extra money and told me not to tell my mom. I still thought that this was normal. I also remember him stealing my phone in the middle of the night. I remember feeling so scared, and I told my mom and 2 sisters, and they told me that I had dreamt it. Mike would also crawl on my floor and scare me awake while I was sleeping. And then I started waking up with my chest exposed. I had figured I accidentally would lift up my shirt while sleeping. The day I put 2 and 2 together, I woke up exposed and sat up in my bed. I saw Mike running back to him in my mom's room. I knew I couldn't make assumptions, so I needed proof. The next day, he came to wake up and I stayed asleep. I felt his fingers slide up my torso and to my chest. I froze. The man who I had looked up to, my only father, the man I wanted to adopt me, was violating my 14-year-old body. From that day on, I distanced myself from him, told him to stop waking me up. I stopped going to class and picked up vaping and smoking weed a lot. I dropped out of my trade school and became depressed fast. My sister got worried about me, and I opened up to her and told her what had happened. Unlike the phone situation, she believed me because she had walked in on him crawling on my floor. I begged her to not say anything to my mom. She had absolutely no idea, but sisters will be sisters, and a few days later, my mom made me leave work early to talk to her about it. I was so scared to tell her, but I did it. She kicked him out, and he told her he also cheated on her with a cashier at QT. I had to watch my mother quit her job and cry for months on end. I couldn't help but feel at blame. Maybe if I didn't get so close to him, or maybe if I didn't take his money, I wanted all of this to go away. But I knew once my mom healed, we would be rid of that sicko. However, it didn't seem to stick. She came to me and asked how I would feel if she got back with him. She had hope in her eyes, wanting to keep the man that saved her from an abusive drug addict. I stupidly said I didn't care, to keep the peace. I was young and didn't realize the only peace I was keeping was his. I don't know how she got over him touching me. Maybe she didn't ever care about that. I don't know. They're still together to this day, and I moved out so that he could move back in. I won't have Thanksgiving with them. I won't have a normal Christmas with them. But the most confession of all is that I miss my dad. The man he was before he did all of this. He would take me to football games and to the pool. My mind loves to block out the screaming and the violence he would push on me and my sisters as kids, but I still wish he hadn't done this to me and my family. I wish my mom wasn't with him. I wish I could go back and tell her not to get back with him. But now I'm just alone and scared that I won't find someone to hold me up. Thanks for listening. Oh my gosh. I'm so sad. And I cannot believe that. First of all, I'm so sorry that that happened to you. And second of all, I just want to tell you that's not your fault. And you should never, ever, ever feel that you're at blame for that. That's nothing you could have, nothing you did, no decision you made would have changed that about him. You are not the problem. He is the problem. He is the weirdo. He is the predator. He's disgusting. He deserves to be in jail, if I'm honest. And your mom, and I know that I know you love your mom, and I know you are even saying you miss your dad and you have love for him, but they're both disgusting and they both don't deserve a relationship with you or your presence at all. And your mom should be so sick when she looks in the mirror at herself and realizes that she chose your abuser over you. That's disgusting. And I cannot believe that a mother would do that. That's truly just so sickening to me. And I'm so sorry. I know you said you didn't need advice, so I'm not going to give you advice, but I'm genuinely so sorry. That's so, I can understand how hard that would be, because you feel that mix of emotions because you loved him and you love your mom, but he did terrible things to you. It's so hard. It's such a confusing feeling. Okay, we are going to read another confession, and it says, "Hi Jamie, I love your videos so much. They're the first thing I put on when I get to work, and they make my day so much better. Love you." Anyways, this could be put in either advice or confession, but I guess it's more of a confession. I, 21 female, went through the literal most intense heartbreak of my life a little over a year and a half ago from a year-long relationship. Also, my first ever long-term relationship. I'm a pretty tame person most of the time, but it was generally so hard, and I did some stuff I regret and made it so this person genuinely cut all contact with me. Understandably so. Anyways, my depression got really bad, and I moved halfway across the country for a fresh start. I so suddenly found myself in another relationship here, which was surprising because I'm really not a relationship-centered person at all, and I probably did move on fast, and I knew I shouldn't have gotten into this relationship, but it all happened so fast. I'm someone who thinks that it's so important to take time alone after a breakup. I only had 8 months to heal, which was not long enough, evidently. Anyways, I've been with this current boyfriend for almost a year, and he gives me everything I wanted. Affection, validation, all the things. But sometimes I don't feel that spark that I did in my previous relationship. And sometimes we bicker, and it's not something I'm used to or entirely love. Okay, for the real confession, my ex contacted me a little bit ago and sent me a genuine heartfelt apology for being closed off during our breakup and all of this stuff. And we have had 3 conversations since then, just catching up. Nothing really romantic, but sending the little smiley face thing. I don't know, it feels wrong, and I know it is, and I usually cut the conversation short. But yeah, that's my confession. Okay, well, I know you said this is either advice or confession, but you didn't really say anything about your first relationship. I'm questioning if it was toxic or something, and maybe that's what makes you feel like you don't feel this spark, because maybe you're used to a toxic relationship and the ups and downs of a relationship, and usually people can confuse that with the spark, but really maybe this relationship is super healthy and good and there's no ups and downs, so you don't feel that so-called spark. But I don't know the details of that relationship. I think that you should probably break up with this person if you feel that you're not healed and you feel that, you want, you still want your ex. That's my advice personally, especially if you don't feel like you took long enough after the breakup. And that's really self-aware of you, and that's great to say. But I do think that it would probably end more poorly if you still continue talking to your ex while you're in a relationship with someone else. Because obviously that that's not something that you should do in a relationship, and you wouldn't want your boyfriend to do that to you if the, roles were reversed. So you're young. You can do what you want, but I do think that it would be healthy for you to break up so that you're not hurting the person that you're with now, and also you can further your own healing. And I love you so much, and thanks so much for saying that I make your days better. Love you. Love you. But that's the end of this episode. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you have any advice in the comments for the advice section, even though we did 2 confessions, but the second one was kind of an advice section. And I love you guys so much. I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye.
Storytime Society is now available on all listening platforms. If you are on any of those listening platforms, I would really appreciate it if you rated me 5 stars. Thanks for all the support.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.